How's it going, guys? And welcome back to the Q&A. So today we had some quality of life updates. Does anybody care to take us through those?
I really can't remember what we put out. I'm really sorry. It's on the website.
I wasn't responsible for today's update, so I don't know either.
We had the Barrows gloves, which are now called actual Barrows gloves.
Yeah, we had hiding private, chat messages and requests from people that you add to your ignore list. What else did we have? You should probably remember.
Right-click options on the Slayer Masters. That was it. One. That was quite hard to do.
Some cool quality of life stuff. So
yeah,
check the homepage if you haven't seen those already.
I wrote this stuff like 2 weeks ago, and then moved on to other projects, and haven't really thought about it since, other than that we put it out today. So hope you like it. Bigger stuff coming soon. I've been on the Grand Exchange, and Dan's been doing achievement diaries.
All right, cool. And if you're somehow unaware, we do have a poll currently running for free-to-play and membership bonds, which has how many thousand votes?
25,000 last time I checked.
Currently at about 85% yes, so make your say known. Head to a poll booth soon if you haven't already. And finally, we'll also have some live Dragon Defender modeling in the background, going up occasionally with Mod Ghost, as you can see. Do you want to take us through what exactly you're going to be doing today, Mod Ghost?
Yes, no problem. Right, so let's just open up these images just here. So we've got the Rune Defender, which some people wanted recoloring red, but I think by and large the majority of you just want something brand new, which I don't blame you. We've also got the Defender, which was originally released just here, which some of you said looks a bit distorted and not particularly what you'd fancy owning in game. Then we've got the RS3 one just here. I kind of like this design. It looks very pretty, but it's just not possible in Old School just because we can't have that level of detail, and I'll explain to you why. So if we just look at this model just here, you can see that if we scale that down any smaller, the detail reduces itself. So if I just scale that down even more, there you go. So if we try to fit too much detail in, the model just basically collapses in on itself, so it's sadly not possible to have anything too detailed. But what I'm going to be doing today is you'll just see this on your screen whenever you tune in. And this will be recorded as well, and Chris is going to put it on YouTube as well, aren't you?
Yep.
So you'll be able to watch it in full. But I'm just basically going to select all these points and basically model a basic blade as we go, and as you come back to me you'll just kind of like see it built. And what I'm actually using here is called a spline, which is essentially a line which I'll then convert into polygons, and then we can just basically like build the blade up like this. So it's a relatively fast job building weapons. That's a very basic shape there to start off with. Don't worry, you're not just going to get a rectangle with a triangle on the end. It's going to be a bit more exciting than that. I've also set up some materials as well. So when we actually come to put materials on here, what we're going to have to kind of make this stand out is, because it's so small, I kind of fancy a red glow sort of emanating from the dagger. So that way it makes it a bit more interesting. You haven't just got sort of like the standard dragon sort of metal that it'd be made out of normally. And it just gives it that little bit of an edge to sort of make it seem a bit more mystical and interesting. We won't be able to move this over into Jagger today because when we're sort of down in the studio here, I haven't got access to the tools to actually import and export between the two programs. So you will just see it in 3ds Max, but it's a good enough representation for you to get an idea of what it's definitely going to look like in game. So yeah, that's it. I'm just going to get started. Is it still on me at the moment? Don't know.
All right, cool. So we'll be turning back to that every 20 minutes or so. You guys can see an update on how it's going. Aside from that, let's get into the actual questions. All right, first question. Warm Soupy asks, can these Q&As be done at varied times to accommodate for other time schedules?
We can do. If you want to come in a bit later or earlier, depending on which point you look at it. What, like 12 different time schedules? Yeah. You can't really cater for every single one of them, unfortunately. One of the reasons that this stream is as successful as it is because it is on at the same time every day as well, or every week. At 5 o'clock on a Thursday, you come and watch because it's on then. You stick it on the YouTube as well every week as well, don't you, Chris?
Yeah.
So if you can't see it, then you can go watch it on YouTube, and Chris obviously collects the questions throughout the day, so you have a chance to get involved that way. But I think the success of this is because 5 o'clock on a Thursday, everybody choosing, it's happening.
I agree.
I think we probably ought to keep it at that time. Kind of like TV schedules, you probably don't anymore, but when I was younger and you didn't have the internet, you'd always tune in at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night to watch Red Dwarf. And
it was actually 8 p.m. for Dragon Ball Z, but that's all right.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Could we potentially ask questions over the night before, just so that people in different time zones get an opportunity to ask those questions?
Yeah, could start doing that.
Like that. Yeah.
Definitely.
You could collect them on your stream on a Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or answer.
I mean, honestly, if you have a question for the Q&A, through any time of the week, feel free to just tweet at me, and I'll likely be able to get them in here, so it's not a problem. Cool. Next question. This one's from Ian Spam. And he asks, can you discuss the decision to move the host of World 8 or 318? I believe we discussed this last week, didn't we?
Yes. We didn't go into a huge amount of detail about it. Basically, we moved it because of some of the network issues we've been suffering from, and it's the right thing to do. I can't actually go into tell you why and the reasoning behind it, but it is the right thing to do. And had to move it. So
yeah,
hopefully everything will get better for everybody as a whole because of it.
Cool.
You just have to be patient, I'm afraid.
I'm going to go ahead and say that was my mistake. I'm pretty sure we answered that same question last week. Anyways.
Well, that's a good question to ask. And
yeah.
It's important to anybody who does bounty hunter.
Not many people notice, to be honest. But next question. This one's from Lime Ray. So why is the Legends Cape worse than the Obsidian Cape when it's so much more difficult to acquire?
I suspect that's because the Legends Cape was created back in the days of RS Classic, and any content created since then tried to be competitive by being perhaps better than the existing stuff, and Tsar came later. Not the best reason, but I suspect that might be how it came about.
Considering it's 450 GP or whatever it is, I don't think it'd be the best idea to make it better than the Obsidian Cape, because then
true.
It becomes completely redundant.
It does come with a timeless look, arguably the best looking cape in the game, until the soon to come Artie Close.
Well, I'd hope there's other things in the Legends Guild worth going for, like where you recharge stuff on the totem pole.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. This one's from SkillSpecs. How's the Dragon Defender coming along? And as you can see, it is coming along quite well. We'll be coming back to that. There you go. Already some progress, actually. And do we have a release date yet that we're willing to?
Next
any
couple
idea?
of weeks or so.
Yeah,
next couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think John is now finished with his content development side of things. The room looks okay. The Cyclopses, whatever you want to call them, they're fine, and all the code there to make that work is there as well. So I think that's, besides the graphical assets, that's ready to go almost.
Cool. Unfortunately, there's a lot happening. Well, it's not really unfortunate, to be honest, is it? But the Dragon Defender isn't quite going to take priority over these bigger updates.
Not with some pending updates.
Imagine. All right, next question. This one's from Dream Mentor. Would it be possible to rotate our player-owned houses without deleting them? And I think he means the rooms. Yeah, the rooms that are player-owned houses.
Probably. Some of the code I wrote when I was doing the Menagerie updates, where you need to be able to move the entire room from one place to another, I could probably reuse that to make this possible.
Okay.
One of the reasons we haven't done a huge amount in construction lately is that when we put it in the priority poll, last time we ran a priority poll, construction came quite low compared to, well, a big solo boss, which we did, and a big Slayer update, which we have yet to do. So we've held back from trying to bundle a whole load of construction stuff, but we can slip the odd thing through as a quality of life job.
Okay.
That seems like a good one to me.
Perhaps after all these massive updates coming in the near future, we'll have some time to relax and focus on the quality of life stuff.
I hope so.
Time to relax.
Well, if anything, quality of life stuff is how I like to break up the day. And also, have you had a go at the construction code yet?
I've been in there briefly over the course of doing diaries. However, I haven't really, or I think in a very thankful way, had any opportunity or any need to necessarily go diving into the core functions of the whole project or the whole skill even.
Such a treat you're missing.
Oh no, I'd take construction over farming any day.
Okay.
I will regret saying that, I feel, but so far, yes.
Next question. This one's from Chocobo Drumstick, and he's asking, can we see a buff to the Void Mage helmet, stating that they're inferior to the Void range and melee helms? I imagine this is because it's now a much more relevant item thanks to the Snake Boss.
Could be that. Also, the way the Void stuff calculates its bonuses, it does it twice for the range effect.
Yeah.
Which I've always suspected to be a bug. Like, if you look at the melee one, it applies a buff for attack, and then it applies a buff for strength. For range, since they use the same stat, it just applies it twice. And it's not clear to me whether the developer knew that was what was happening. Either way, I'm not touching it, but it does mean there could be scope for buffing magic slightly.
Okay. All right. Possibility. Next question. This one's from Will Dependent. Can you please reintroduce free-to-play wilderness fishing spots?
Yeah, if they want us to. I mean, we changed them to put dark crabs in, didn't we?
And
I removed those select fishing spots because no one ever used them. Yeah. Well, because we didn't have free-to-play at that point.
Yeah.
I think it might be worth having them back.
Yeah, I think so. Add it to our list of things to do for free-to-play.
For some reason, there's these comments about my posture. I feel like I have to sit slouched. People are like, don't sit up straight, Chris. So, next Q&A is like this. Next question. This one's from Nando's RS. For farming fruit trees, when the tree has been cut, can you make the right-click option clear without having to use a spade on the stump?
I point out that's my brother, and he's asked me this all the time, and I've told him before. So he's now asking on live stream.
So take care of it, Dan.
For farming fruit trees, when the trees as we cut. I would like to make that happen. Yes, we'll put it on a poll at some point, I guess. I think I think it's already on John's list of things we'd like to do. Now I think about it.
Surprised.
Yeah, I think John does have a very long list of things that he would like to get done.
So you get to have another go at the farming code.
Yeah, there you go, Sam.
Slightly easier. I've done it before.
Next question, this one's from Lysergic. Once the Grand Exchange has been implemented, will we see something similar to the RuneScape companion app that lets us make our GE trades via a mobile device?
Truth be told, for the moment, getting the web pages that accompany the Grand Exchange is still something we're chasing up. They're going to come eventually, but we can't be sure it will come with the Grand Exchange. We're not going to hold up the whole Grand Exchange while we wait for this. Yeah. So could be that the website comes later, and I'd like to get that out before we go looking at anything else like an app.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a big job, basically. I don't remember how long last time it took. It took months, didn't it, to do the companion app?
With any luck, some copying can be done, but
I wouldn't hold out for it, to be honest. I mean, some third party might create an app that can read into some API, but aside from that, I don't think anybody's expecting anything official, at least, not for a long time.
From the looks of it, if we were to pull something like that, which might be odd, the chat isn't too in favor of that.
Oh, that's all right then.
A little odd. Yeah, interesting idea though. Okay, next question. This one's from Jackson. Will Old School ever get a web developer or audio guy?
We've already got an audio guy, haven't we?
Well,
you.
Well, we get soundtracks when we need them.
Yeah.
As for sound effects, we can do a lot by recycling existing monster sounds from around the game, because one big monster going grr sounds much like another.
Like the armor crossbow special attack?
Yeah, though we may have overdone it there.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, no, we were speaking earlier about a web guy, weren't we?
We were.
Quite nice to have, and we've got wonderful things to be able to do all the little jobs that we want doing around the website. But the question is, if Jagex were to employ another web guy, is it best used on Old School or go into the existing web team to finish some of the things they need to do first? So it's no one's quite sure. We have to wait and see what happens, really.
And one of the advantages we have is we do have some friends in the web team who do occasionally, in their spare time, like to do things for us. I know there's one guy who's trying to make us a high scores page to show, mini game high scores and clue score high scores. He's doing that every other week Thursday because it's a personal project he enjoys doing and he knows that we need it. So we do have friends in the web team.
We should throw him a party.
And they were quite good about uploading the last world map update for us when we asked them to.
I think the key thing about why we get an awful lot of support in sort of people's spare time is because when somebody does some work on Old School, it generally goes into game and they work on that project, then it gets delivered, so they feel like they've delivered something themselves and it's their piece of work. And that's one of the things I think we all enjoy, really. When we do something, we see the sort of results from you guys. So
it shouldn't sound so rare to work in a company and occasionally deliver something that goes somewhere.
Shouldn't, should it? No, I probably didn't word that too right, but there you go. There we go.
Okay, next question. This one's from Peter Hansen.
I think Ronan needs to answer this one.
I know, so do I.
Yeah, this is a question for Ronan in specific because he's muted. And he says, could you let us block certain Nightmare Zone bosses for points similar to how you can block tasks with Slayer?
Well, since I've been delegated answering this question, no.
I'd go ahead and say that one wouldn't pass a poll.
I don't
just
think
because
so.
making Nightmare Zone easier is
Yeah.
probably not something people want right now. But it's an interesting idea. I can see why I thought that. All right, next question. Again for Ronan. From Gerard. Can we have the ability to mount dual rings and Slayer rings in our play-around houses?
Dual rings and Slayer rings, wouldn't they just degrade?
Not if it's stuck in the wall.
To a glory.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't really,
charges, essentially.
with how nice it is that Jordan rings are constantly going out of the game, I think it'd probably be nice to keep it that way so there's constant demand. Well, lack of supply for demand. All that. Words.
So reason.
This is what happens when you force me to answer questions.
This is why you're muted.
Exactly.
Welcome to a Q&A
You heard
live
it here
stream.
first. Words. So we're going to...
Were you muted by one of the P mods you modded during the application spree? I sent you one.
So we're going to go ahead and jump back over to Gareth, see how he's making over with the Dragon Defender.
Okay, cool. So as you can see, the silhouette has been marked out now. What I've actually done is you can see these lines of geometry going through the centre of the model just here. What they're actually going to enable me to do is to select all of these verts and then extrude the three-dimensional aspects of the model out, just so it starts to thicken it instead of it just being a flat shape like a piece of paper. So if I just rotate the camera there for you, you can just see as we lift these up, it all of a sudden just seems to come to life a bit. And then we'll also need to do it on these areas around here, just to sort of fatten those out too. I've tried to give the end a bit of a sort of like a broad sort of axe blade sort of feel, just so it sets it aside from the other defenders for one, and also just so it picks up more on camera when you're actually in game, as opposed to having something that's sort of skinny and sharp and moves about a lot and jumps whilst it's being animated. So I'm just going to sort of fatten this out a bit, get those more three-dimensional proportions sorted, and then we can just have another look and see where we're going from there.
Okay. Awesome.
Cheers.
Well done for 15 minutes. Okay, next question. This one's from Jared again. Can we get a new quest that allows us to travel back to Tutorial Island?
I've seen a lot of people requesting that.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
What, they back a quest or to go back to tutorial?
I doubt it would come from
To go
a quest.
back, yeah.
But the ability to go back. Maybe a new teleport?
Yeah.
Or a quest where you have to go back and do the quest on it.
Yeah. Quite cool.
Would we then, as mains, be sitting in Tutorial Island, watching the noobs come in from free-to-play, and we'd be like, look at me and my dragon and barrows
I
and
think
cool
we'd have
stuff?
to probably do it as a separate thing, because
I
obviously
think-
Iron Men may well be...
Well, there's that,
some
and
issues with that.
you kind of don't want to be on Tutorial Island when you're not supposed to be,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, because when you leave Tutorial Island, it currently wipes your bank.
Yeah. That's not an accident or a bug, that is entirely intentional.
Because that's what happens at the end of tutorial. Anything you've
Yeah.
put in the bank goes, anything in your inventory goes, and you get the starting stuff to replace it.
So it's been-
And it doesn't check to see whether you've acquired great wealth at some point first.
No, it doesn't really
Okay.
care about what you got in your bank. But a quest I like the idea of, because I want to do one anyway. But
Okay.
regardless of where it takes you, I think we can include Tutorial Island in that.
So it's a possibility, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Some positive feedback in the chat there for that idea, so that's nice. Next question, this one's from Sup Austin. Provided the free-to-play poll passes, will free-to-play and membership bonds be released together or individually?
Free to play will be with us. We just put up a news post, haven't we? Free to play will be with us on the 19th of February. Some point after the 1st of March, that's when we'll put the membership bonds in. As and when we know more, we will give you more specific details. But that's the plan at the moment.
If it passes.
If it passes.
If it passes.
Vote.
Yeah. It needs to be 80%.
No, it needs to be 83.5 because then the bets we placed on where it might land will determine whether or not Rowan and I have an arm wrestle over it.
I'd like to see you try and have an arm wrestle right now with this table thing they've given us.
Yeah.
Maybe next Q&A. Okay, next question. This one's from Soli. Can you add an option in the Kingdom of Miscellanea to spin the collected flax into bowstring? Does that seem a little OP, or is that fair?
Well, it's interesting. Personally, I kind of liked it for easy crafting experience when I got the flax, but
Yeah.
could go either way.
Maybe pay for it.
True.
Yep. Well, of course, with the Grand Exchange coming out, then there'll be a lot more opportunity to get rid of flax you don't want, and then buy bowstrings that you do want.
That's true. That's true. All right. Okay, next question. This one's from Jalal. Can you expand the Motherlode Mine cave so that it's, because it's always packed?
We would be delighted to.
Could we make that bigger?
It could be made very big.
Okay.
We could even add an extra corridor from the inside to the outside if people liked. I mean, we put that map together fairly quickly a long time ago. We can make it bigger, make it different, add more corridors, anything that they like, really.
The idea is just simply because some worlds might be a little packed, I imagine.
Yeah, I didn't think we're short of world capacity, but we can certainly make the area bigger anyway.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Scott Wilson 2. Will there be any more achievement diary reveals before they're released?
I'm not entirely sure what else we can reveal, to be honest.
I think they're looking for Artie.
The kit's been revealed.
The kit has been revealed. I showed off the Varrock kit explicitly last week, which was drawn, updated and everything by Gareth over there. Besides other kits, anything you might see us post on Twitter, which I can tweet. I've been going through the awards this week and I've completed Falador Ardy, did Ardy today, I'm doing Lumbridge now, Wilderness is done, Varrock is done and whatnot. I actually showed Varrock last week. Besides that, I don't think there's going to be much opportunity to show any more on stream because obviously we're planning for these to go live potentially next week. Anything you might want to see, just ask with me on Twitter and I'll show you what's gone on, where we are, where we stand. As for tasks, I think I gave you enough of those. I think I gave you like 3 or 4 diaries worth of tasks. So I'll leave the tasks alone for the time being, just to give people something to be surprised by when they come out. Or there's only so much you can do in certain areas anyway, so you're probably not going to be surprised. But at the very least, it does add a little bit of mystery to the content.
Yeah. If you didn't get to see those teasers, by the way, they were uploaded to YouTube as a highlight. You can find those on the YouTube channel, where you showed quite a bit, surprisingly, but did leave some element of surprise there. So you won't know everything when they come out, which is nice. Next question. This one's from Todd Mark. Can membership bonds be used for name changes?
Don't know. No, I don't think you can. I think when we were talking about it, we wanted to make a clear distinction between a membership bond, existing bonds, and anything else that existing bonds can be used for. So membership bonds will be only membership. Using it for anything else, I don't think that's a good idea, because that definition I think is quite important for the community. Right. And if you guys decide that you do want to use it for name changes, then we can look at including that. But I think, especially for release, I think just membership is the right way to go.
Yeah. So possibly pulled in the future.
Yeah, if the guys want it, yeah.
But for the time being, if you do want to change your name, you can just use an RS3 bond, which will change your old school account name as well. Cool. Next question. This one's from Says Gmazu. Will Zaya have any free-to-play accessible content?
It will be free-to-play. Well, part of it will be free-to-play at the very least. Because there's no reason not to make any part of that not available to free-to-play. However, we'll probably have to iron that through with yourself and other managing directors to be obviously, so we can conclude on what free-to-play is allowed to access. Yeah. I personally see no reason to deny free-to-play access to at least some of the area. But
the thing about being free-to-play is I remember how much fun it was walking up to the members gate and looking across it and trying to see what was on the other side and reading about it on the website. This kind of thing made me want to subscribe, which I eventually did before I worked here. Well, so we could have that experience all over again.
That element can definitely be recreated. I think there's absolutely no reason why not. It's a huge area, so it would be unfair to completely cut that off. It is still part of the game experience. The idea behind free-to-play is to give players access to the game and almost in some way tease them into wanting more by blocking things off, as Ash just pointed out. With something like the continent, there's no reason not to have certain areas available to free-to-play, cutting off at exciting points where they're not allowed to access, potentially acting as some sort of retention subscribing tool. But I don't see a reason not to add free-to-play areas to it. Obviously, we'll have to iron it out and decide what we're going to give them access to, how much access we do give them. But again, that's for another day. But it's too early to say right now, at least.
All right. Interesting idea. Next question. This one's from A Clubs. Assuming the poll passes, when will we release the exact date free-to-play is coming out, which we just answered prior?
Yes.
Again, the 19th of February.
So I've our second birthday, which will also be happening on that day as well. So seems like the right time to do it, really. Second birthday, free-to-play. Win-win. Assuming it passes.
Assuming it passes.
Yeah.
Next question. This one's from Sir PVM a lot. Can you make salamanders usable on Zulrah?
Salamanders require you to be kind of right up close to the thing you're fighting, do they not? And Zulrah is never right up close to you on account of him being a snake in a pond. So no, salamanders not so good there. We can enable halberds a bit more plausibly because they're a long stick.
All right, there you go. Next question. This one's from Bono51. And he's asking, can you remove the dialogue when passing through the barrier in Port Phasmates?
Yes.
Yes, I'd love to. It's completely unnecessary.
It's a solid yes all around. Cool.
Did it for the Softenham cake today, so we can do it there.
All right. A couple more questions. We'll head back to Gareth say he's making out with the Dragon Defender. So this one's from Looking for Ducks.
Could you just say he was making out with the Dragon Defender?
That's apparently that's a Canadian term, because I said that quite a few times, and everybody always looks at me like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah.
So,
oh God.
We'll see how he is progressing with the Dragon Defender, if you would.
Hey.
Next question. This one's from Looking for Ducks. Could equipping God armor sets give bonuses? And what he's asking for here is we've kind of brought a similar idea before, but with free to play, it's a bit more relevant, I suppose. A full rune Zamorak trim armor set can maybe give +4 attack, or full Sarah maybe some defense bonus in there.
Did they give
a little bit of both?
Did they give prayer bonuses before? I can't remember.
I think they still do.
I think
I don't think they did in free to play originally.
They didn't. No, they didn't do anything with that rune.
We could enable that in free to play. I don't see a reason why we shouldn't.
Would be cool to give.
I think a game for launch will probably keep it how it was, and then sort of poll the changes after that.
Yeah.
Because I think what people are expecting for free to play when they come back, they'll expect it to be as it was in 2007. I think. So it'll be. I think we'll have to be a bit careful. But I think if we keep it as you guys would expect it to be, and then maybe poll some changes in, maybe doing a free to play branded poll or something. at some point would be quite a cool little thing to do.
Definitely.
It's been suggested that quite a few things could be made into free-to-play items so that members can sell them to free-to-play. I've said that we're not going to do anything like that for launch, but we could policy in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. That might be worthwhile having a think about. Maybe even let the free players vote on it as well and see what they think.
So possibly pulled in the future then?
I think
All
so.
right. Next question. This one's from Gork. Can we get an entire stream dedicated to funny stories told from the JMods? Now there has been something very similar brought up on Reddit right now, as it's top with like 1,000 upvotes.
Are you talking about funny stories about RuneScape and Jagex, or just funny stories about
RuneScape?
Okay.
Definitely RuneScape. Yeah, there's been quite a few people asking for funny stories from Ash and Ian, actually, from the beginning days of RuneScape. And I think we'd definitely like to do a stream like that if we could.
Yeah, get a few of the other more, what do we call them, long-timers,
seasoned,
old-timers,
Old
Jagex.
people.
Yeah.
So
Get them
veterans.
Yeah,
There you go. Definitely, yeah, I think that'd be a really cool idea.
Just from the stories that Ash and Ian often tell in the office, there's a lot of stuff that I think people would be interested in.
And they're true, honest.
All right, let's actually switch back over to see how Gareth's progressing with the Dragon Defender.
Cool. Right, so I'll just rotate this camera again. You can see the basic shape has actually taken form there a bit. I'll just try and turn this off, just so you can see the wire mesh as well. I've actually cut down on the amount of polygons that I was using, so I just tend to like build things and kind of they're quite polygon heavy to start off with, and then I'll just trim back and see exactly what we do need. So I'm just trying to accentuate the main shapes around here. I've made it kind of like thick and heavy as well, because it's not like a stabbing weapon. It's basically what you'd use to sort of parry away a larger weapon. So we've got things like a hook around the blade to kind of try and catch someone's weapon and pull it away from them, and then this larger blade here to actually defend a heavier weapon. And then sort of like the pommel at the top is kind of an interesting shape. It looks spiky, and it kind of like complements and sort of weights the larger end, if you see what I mean. So if I put like a smaller pommel there, the sort of like general silhouette of the weapon would look really uneven. I've also added some asymmetry on the handguard. Again, where you can actually see where you could hook the sword away, the handguard's larger and hooks around, so that's kind of like a trapment area for a sword coming towards you. Just as a decorative detail, I put an eye on there as well, so that will sort of complement against a sort of fiery red colour with a nice sort of yellow tone too, and it will have like a black iris. The actual metal that I've chosen at the moment, you can see, is just a regular steel colour. The reason for that is because when I put the red glow over the top, it will actually tint the metal, but if I used a red in the first place, then we get something more like a lightsaber look, which isn't really what we're going for. It's more sort of like a mystical glow. So the red glow will tint that, so don't worry, it will look red. The next step for me is just to basically assign the materials to these different areas, which I just have to do by selecting polygons and then go into my multi-sub object and actually saying, right, I want that to be ID 5, and then just giving it a new material and making one up just here. Then after that, we're just going to mirror it, which is a really fast way to actually create the weapon. So if you look at it from that angle, it will just basically be sandwiched, like you've put a mirror down the edge, and that will create some really nice sort of like highlights around the sort of edge of the blade to really give you a sense of this sharp edge just here, especially. So yeah, that'll be done in about 10 minutes. It's going really fast, to be honest.
Gareth, what
Yeah.
do you call a dead parrot?
Oh no.
Oh, come on.
Oh dear. Should I ask? Yeah, okay, go on.
A polygon. I've got to repeat it. So what do you call a dead parrot?
No one
A
needs to do that
polygon.
again.
No.
We don't need dad jokes on the stream, thanks.
Cool. Dad jokes. Hashtag dad jokes in the chat.
Looks awesome, however, I disagree. I think it should look like a lightsaber. That just personal preference.
No
Next question.
lightsabers.
This one's actually from Mod Ronan, and it's from Smork Bodie Swamp Smork.
Why would
That's
you ask
actually his
that?
name. That's actually his name. Okay. And he's asking, can you add a special Slayer Master that wanders around the world map, and you have to find him to receive a high-level monster task? Actually, Dan's probably the best one.
I
to
like
answer this one.
wanderers.
Yeah.
Wanderers, wandering NPCs and wandering sort of events are really, really good.
It's funny we say that, because we then put Neve right next to a bank.
Yes. However, the achievement die, especially for the wilderness, might feature such an NPC. I'm not going to go into more detail on that, but if you are taking part in the wilderness diary, you might find one of the taskmasters hard to find, and you might have to be a little bit.
Well, you've just completely spoiled it now, haven't you?
Oh no! I mean, they still don't know how to find it.
Okay. Well,
It's relevant to the wilderness, but I haven't made that one easy.
okay. I'm imagining something like Penguins, where people will find a friend's chat to locate this, whatever it is.
Maybe.
Okay. Cool.
But as for Slayer Master, I like that idea actually.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. All right, this one's from Zesma69. Can you make the skeletons and scorpions in the wild north of Edgeville unaggressive? All they do is annoy PKers.
One of the things we've got on the list for future polls is to just move the whole kit and caboodle somewhere further north, elsewhere in the wilderness, so that there's just no monsters in the bottom end of wilderness.
Kit and caboodle is the scorpions and skeletons.
It's an expression I picked up somewhere.
Okay. So yeah, definitely coming to a poll soon.
Yes, I see no reason why not. It's been suggested that around the abyssal entrance, people like to keep a few skeletons to upset the botters, though I don't personally think it works.
All right.
The number of times that those things have jumped in on my fights and watched me kill is
Yeah.
absolutely unbelievable. I'd be glad to see them gone.
Yeah.
I'm voting for that one. Next question. This one's from David Weber. Any plans to update the Old School website to adapt to the Grand Exchange and free-to-play changes?
Sort of. We have a new website. It won't look any different to you. It's how it's constructed is going to be changing. Ready for the launch of... might even be ready for free-to-play. So in a couple of weeks, maybe. It probably won't look any different. There'll be a few extra things go on there, a few different changes in text, a few links. As for Grand Exchange, that is a significant amount of work. That is, I was talking about it to them yesterday. We have to get a whole new system built to push information from the Grand Exchange to the website. So that's going to be a while longer, I'm afraid.
Okay. Next question. This one's from PolluxRS. So why exactly did we add a paragraph or two about membership bonds in the poll when it hasn't been done in the past?
And the whole thing about the membership bonds was making sure everybody had the information. Everything we've done is about getting the right information out there, which is why we made the change to the decision to stick the extra information into the question, because we wanted you to have it. I mean, there was a few people got upset that one of the paragraphs weren't worded very well, and no, they're quite right, so we took it out. But it is all just about getting information out to you. That's why we've done the live streams, we've done the AMA, we've done 3 or 4 news posts about it now. We've been talking everywhere about it just to get you guys so you're fully informed what's going on, so you can make the decision you think's right.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, nothing more than that.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Strongbow Mate. With the introduction of free-to-play, providing the poll passes, can we remove the wilderness ditch?
We were talking about doing a near-miss poll, weren't we?
Yeah.
For our birthday as well. I think that'll go in there.
We're doing that on the birthday?
Yeah, around our birthday time-ish.
Are we making promises of this or guesses?
I think that's what we talked about earlier, wasn't it? We do it sort of around, so it'll sort of hit around birthday time.
Cannot wait to get that poll done. I've been talking about it for long enough, so it'd be nice as soon as possible. Really.
So what else will be on it?
Don't know.
We've got spacebar to skip through dialogue.
Oh yes,
Had someone asked me earlier about whether the Apatoll for Pures would be repolled.
Yeah, I had someone ask me that on stream yesterday, and I'm not 100%.
Oh, I built my account around my pure around that being there, so that was frustrating for me.
That was the thing that I thought. As much as I understand why people don't like pures having updates to make playing as a pure easier, to get to that point in a pure where you've completed Monkey Madness, you're pretty committed to that account. To have that barrier then suddenly appear and you've not realised that you can't get back there is a little bit unfortunate.
I can't remember what it got when we last polled it. Probably wasn't particularly hard.
60 something.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it going on a poll. I just can't see the outcome being any different.
Yeah. I wouldn't
I
expect
don't
it
think
to
it's
be.
really a near miss if it was 60 something.
No,
Which
not
is
really.
the thing.
The wilderness ditch, to get back to the question, would we still have the message that says you are now entering a dangerous zone? You know, are you ready to go?
What we said we'd do last time we polled it was remove the visible ditch and just have you stopped on the edge of the wilderness until you click through an accept screen once per session. So you wouldn't get into the wilderness without having accepted the warning once per session, but you could then go back and forth.
So that would prevent luring then?
Should do.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, when we've written things like this before, you try to walk north, there's nothing visibly in your way, but when it gets to the bit where the invisible wall is, it always slows you down for a couple of cycles. We've never been able to implement one which didn't do that.
Okay.
I mean, I've implemented quite a few and nobody's seemed to have found a way yet. But it's probably going to be easier than going across that ditch, and it won't look so ugly either. And it should be a very amusing time on update day when all the Abyssal bots don't know how to handle it.
Definitely one of the biggest questions we have, so I think it'd be really cool to get a straw poll on that. If you guys would like the wilderness ditch removed, as it will be approaching a near miss poll in the near future, but so you guys are very vocal about it right now, so why not? Next question. This one's from Lazy Beef 123. Can you make the Tazar/Fight Caves Slayer tasks?
Would love to. I'd love to include Jad in that. The original task was, I believe, you got assigned to Tsar, but you had the ability to upgrade to a Jad task specifically. I think you only had to kill either Jad once or maybe a few times. I can't remember exactly. But I'd like to include Tsar creatures and the challenge of going and slaying Jad as part of a Slayer task. But actually, there's a Slayer update coming at some point this year, and I believe you're down to do it.
Maybe you're on the continent, so I probably am.
Yeah, I'll be doing my own Slayer stuff on there anyway, but inclusive of the mainland, which is where I won't be focusing a lot of my attention on, really.
I've got the rest of RuneScape then. Awesome.
Yeah, the rest of RuneScape's yours. Maybe, I don't know, you might include that in yours.
It seems like a good time to go for all the random Slayer things, quite apart from the idea for sharing tasks, since Co-op Slayer didn't pass, but we could let people share their tasks so they could still slay with a friend and things like that.
Yeah, Slayer with a friend, wasn't that one of the near-miss polls as well?
Well, it depends whether we want to just ask the same question we asked last time, which people didn't vote for because they didn't really know how the XP would work, and I'm not sure we did. Or we could go with the other design we came up with to replace it. Whatever, really.
To follow that near-miss poll, I'd like to revisit the Time Trial Slayer, make competitive Slayer. Competitive Slayer is, well, it's an interesting concept, but I'm not sure how everybody else feels about it.
So the straw poll's back for the removal of the wilderness ditch, and it's only sitting at 65%, which would not pass poll.
Kind of what he got last time.
Yeah. It is cool to see 1,000 votes immediately. Yeah,
that's good.
There you go. Next question. This one's from Chum Chum RS. Will we see more item sets with the Grand Exchange? Which we've answered before, but any ideas for what more we can add?
Well, superset springs to mind. And there's quite a few more armour things, like trims, treasure trail things.
Yeah.
We didn't do very many before, partly because we were a bit pressed for time, and partly because they all expect custom graphics for the to go on the box that they come in. But when Mod Ghost has a bit of time around with other things he's doing, we can try and get more sets.
Collector sets, like you say, a party hat set, Halloween mask set, God sword set. For collectors.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I like the super set. Let's get sets of sets. All right, next question. This one's from Examine Noob. Can we stop Martin Thwaite from walking on the fire at the Rogue's Den?
There was an actual poll question saying, shall we make the fire at the Rogue's Den block walk? And it failed, so we didn't. You want to put that on your repoll poll?
I'm more than happy to, yeah.
At the very least, we can move Martin Thwaite a little bit further away.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Seabear. Where will the spirit tree be located when the Grand Exchange comes?
Northeast corner.
Where it always was.
Same as where it used to be.
It's not far from there now.
All right. Next question. This one's from Maximus. Can Scrolls of Redirection be pulled to be available for Iron Man?
Well, it's possible to make it happen. It's just whether or not we want to poll it, or we feel that it's necessary.
I don't think we've got a problem with it. It's not like the resources that we didn't want that Iron Men getting in that kind of quantity.
There's no reason for Iron Men not to have them either.
And I'm not going to trade away the tablets.
Exactly. So yeah.
Every week we get a set amount of questions from Iron Men who are requesting being an Iron Man be a little bit easier. Almost like who kind of regret being an Iron Man.
I think what Iron Men do is effectively go back to the very frustrating way of, I wouldn't call the self-reliance of Iron Man frustrating, but they've gone back to how it was originally, where there's a lot of things unnecessarily in your way, and having access to content like that doesn't make it easier, just removes a frustrating barrier. Obviously you could go through it and it wouldn't be difficult, it was just frustrating, but there's no reason for Iron Man not to have access to those. I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, not that big of a deal then. All right, so this one's quite irrelevant, but it's from Parry, and he's asking, if you had to name your children after a RuneScape NPC, which NPC would you pick? And I'm going first and saying Gnome Child.
No, you actually call your child Gnome Child.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like, so Gnome Child, could you go grab me a drink? Thanks.
You are cruel.
You are an awful person.
You were definitely going to take Gnome Child if I didn't take it.
I was actually going to go with Big Dave.
Oh, no! No! No.
Right. I'll go the cat amongst the pigeons and call mine Dad.
Dad.
After the troll.
Wise old man.
You would call your children wise old man.
If it's a girl.
Oh, God.
Come on,
actually, I'd name mine one of the new NPCs I'm introducing as with the achievement diaries, and I'd go with the Wedge.
The Wedge.
The Wedge. Or Norax.
All right, next question. This one's from XXYLM. I like those. We should do those more.
Yeah,
once a week or so, we'll have a funny question.
Irrelevant, ridiculous questions again.
Yeah, so this one's from XXYLM. Can we get a toggle on the queue system for high alching and superheat? So what he's asking for is the ability to cast high alch and then superheat immediately after, if I can speak. Basically just granting more XP per hour, just more efficient, removing the delay.
So he's saying he'd like to be able to cast a superheat immediately after casting a high alch?
Yeah.
Well, that would be possible. At the moment, they're using the same delay as all the other spells that have a queue system like that, but they could have been programmed to use different ones so that you can cast all the spells in a row very quickly. That would make magic faster.
Yeah.
As one does.
Seeing as it's kind of mixing an AFK spell with a sort of AFK spell.
Well, you're not AFKing if you're doing it, so I don't mind so much.
That's true. Yeah, cool. All right, nice idea. Next question. This one's from Matt. Can we get the trapdoor to Keldegrim via minecart with the Grain Exchange? Was this the trapdoor in the northwest of the Grain Exchange?
Just south of the
agility hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right.
I also thought it was a rather lazy update, to be honest.
Buzzing a lot.
That's mine.
Okay.
For what it's worth, that came with the update that made the minecarts free and deleted the ticket system, so you just clicked on a minecart at whatever station you were at and could go to any other station. It meant that we didn't have to have a ticket seller at the Grand Exchange entrance. You just click on them and go to Keldegrim. So
convenient.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing I'd actually be inclined to poll if we weren't doing a Grand Exchange, so we could take that as a feedback change for a future update.
Okay.
Given how much stuff there is to do on the Grand Exchange, it's not the end of the world if a few things come afterwards anyway.
So possibly pulled after the Grand Exchange then? All right, cool.
Plan.
Next question, this one's from Tell Me Miranda. Any chance we could get something like a magic water can? Perhaps you could enchant them at the Fountain of Rune, giving them infinite water. Just more convenience, really.
I'd like to do the magic watering can.
Yeah, I have nothing against the idea. Quite like it, actually.
It requires a little extra work because I know how the leprechauns work in 2007 and it's not as flexible as what I did to them in later years. But it would be a good excuse to increase the bucket capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. This one's from Ghost Noob. And I believe we're going to cut back to Mod Ghost and see his progress with Dragon Defender after this question. And he asks, can you remove the immunity after taking damage when running out of danger zones for free to play? So a better example of this. If you're PKing in Varrock as a Fire Strike Pure, you just created a free-to-play account, you're in the East Varrock ability there, it's multi. If I get hit by a spell, I run to the safe zone, that spell doesn't actually hit me because I'm in a safe zone now. He's asking that that spell still continues to hit him, which would also apply to teleportation. So if you got hit by an ice barrage then teleported away, that barrage would still hit you when you landed in Varrock or wherever.
Yeah, we had a long conversation about this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
The reason we got a bit iffy about it is that while you're teleporting, you're not able to do anything like eat or cancel teleporting or change your mind. You've got to sit there and look at the whole teleport animation in effect. And during that time, people could be queuing up more and more damage on you while you're playing the animation. And then at the end, you take whatever may have been queued on you and drop dead. And the PK can't get your stuff because you've teleported. And yeah, that's how it used to work if you go back far enough. But it's not necessarily desirable behaviour that you have to watch a teleport animation and quite likely drop dead as a result of the delay.
Some people do lag when they click teleport as well, depending on their internet connection, so that would be frustrating, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So the answer is we could do it, we're just not necessarily convinced that we should do it.
Yeah, when we look at the chat in there, it's very mixed feelings.
It is.
Yeah,
I think it's a majority no, but there's a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the day, the wilderness lever, that teleport, you would pull that lever and you could still get double specced by a DDS, and then you'd probably get out there dead. But not looking like that would pass a poll, so we'll see about that one. Interesting idea, though.
Even back in the day, I remember it used to get reported as a bug quite a lot from people who thought that if they were in a safe place, they should not be getting PvP damage.
Yeah.
I mean, telling them, no, you're wrong, you were meant to lose all your items, live with it. They couldn't always see it that way.
All right, next question. This one's from, oh, actually, I believe we're going to cut over to Mod Ghost, if I can remember.
Okay, cool.
Ooh, it's red
Look
now.
at that.
Right, so what I've done here is created a separate object. Just going to deselect that. There we go. Right, so I've created a separate object here for the glow, which eventually I will actually merge with this object as well. strangely enough, it is actually a lot harder to colour things in 3ds Max than it is in our tools. So this is like a vague representation of what I can achieve with the colour. We haven't got any sort of lighting mechanics in our engine that can actually dynamically light an object or anything like that. So I have to paint the colour on. So this is just a sort of rough representation of how this glow around here is actually going to be projected onto the handguard of the weapon. So it sort of like gives it more of a sense that it's actually glowing. If we zoom out, you can see this is essentially what you're going to get in game. It's just something like that. It's yeah. One day we'll have resizable and you'll be able to see things maybe like that. So you can see, with sort of taking resizable into consideration, we've actually just got enough detail there to actually show off the key elements that we wanted. The silhouette's still visible. If I added more detail than that, it would just get really, really noisy, and the edge of the blade, if it had those spikes on again, would just look like this fuzzy pixelated mess. So that's what I'm just trying to avoid sort of moving forward when thinking about how we put these weapons together. That's the weapon up close, which sadly you probably won't ever get to see in game, but it's kind of like when you actually hold it in your hand, you can perhaps pretend that you can see that. You can see how like the yellow eye just gives it a little bit of extra detail even at a distance, so it kind of like helps your eye sort of like travel down the weapon and say, oh right, that's the handguard, oh that's where the glow starts, and just little bits like that. So actually they're actual visual cues that it sends to the eye. It's very important to just stick those little details in there just to kind of finish off the weapon in a sense. I'm happy that's done. My next job will be to move it into Jagged and sort of recolor it and everything. I'll post it on Twitter. There'll be a few highlights on the blade and just things like that. That won't cost extra geometry. You can just see sort of like polygons just here, for example. I can just select those and colour them a slightly sort of like brighter colour, just so it looks like there's shading on them. So that's what I tend to do. Just use the existing geometry and colour it a bit sort of like conservatively. And you actually get some really nice effects whilst not adding in extra detail once again. So yeah, that's the Dragon Defender finished. I hope you guys like it. Of course you can sort of tweet me and give me some feedback, say you want an extra spike here or something like that. I'm quite happy with the design, but you never know, you might change my mind and make me reassess. Cool.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Great, thanks for that, Mod Ghost. Again, you'll be able to find that later on the YouTube channel, and you can give them feedback through Twitter. But aside from that, we have more questions. So this one's from ChumChumRS. Can we have the ability to make/sell quest kit packages? So an example for this would be Animal Magnetism would come with a Mithril Axe, 5 iron bars, 4 pots, etc.
Oh God.
All the tradables.
Oh God, that's a lot.
Hey,
that's a lot.
It would be useful for free-to-play players coming in, being like, "Oh, I really want to do Imp Catcher. Someone sell me a box with the what are they? Orbs
4
or
beads.
The beads, yeah.
Beads.
The Grand Exchange is going to be there. I mean, it's not going to be the most challenging thing to get quest items.
That's true.
Yeah.
Also, it would be a bit of a pain to rewrite the item set system to be able to handle multiple copies of any given item. Like if you need like 10 nails first per plank for the search for the marquee quest. At the moment, it just assumes you want 1 of each item in the set rather than 1 of this, 10 of that, and 4 of the other. So we could take a bit of doing, and we're a bit undecided whether we want to.
The community seem overly chuffed about it, do they?
No, not really.
No.
That's about. I don't think I've actually seen a single yes. So.
Well,
thanks for the question.
I agree with the lazy and then what is probably appropriately starred out response that it's getting, because I don't want to do that anyway.
Okay, gonna go ahead and say that one's probably not gonna happen. Next question here. This one's from Fi Swelly. Can you pull optional hotkey settings?
I'd like to do that. I'd like people to be able to set any hotkey to anything they like, really.
Well, certainly the things that are controlled by the F keys at the moment, I'm up for letting them rearrange that. I'd rather not go quite as far as letting them bind a hotkey to things like the alchemy spell or something.
Oh yeah, no, that.
Or sharks. I know a game like that.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay. Well, this one's getting a bit more positive feedback, actually.
Yeah.
Quite a few yeses, so it's a
Good.
possibility, definitely.
It's something I wanted to do since 2013. It's just been a big enough job that we couldn't
polled
stick
it
it
at one
into
point, didn't we? We polled changing it to RS3.
We polled changing it to match RS3.
Yeah.
Now, 2013, us saying, should we make this more like RS3? Wouldn't really sell.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it didn't.
Is that something you might want to go on to the Nimbus poll, or would you rather hold out and get the
I'd rather
big
let
update
people
then?
choose their own F keys to side panel thing, because it would also let us free up the escape key. Currently that goes to the inventory,
Yeah.
but people would like to be able to close menus with it.
Okay.
To be fair, the escape key is nowhere near, I think, the F7 key, which is the prayer page. So when you're trying to do a quick item switch or quick flick to prayer after eating or healing or something, it's not very, it's not very nice.
Depends how your keyboard's set out, of course.
It does.
I've got a wonderful keyboard. In fact, I tweeted a picture of it. It's effectively half a keyboard where everything can be reached with one hand.
But not everybody's keyboard is a calculator.
So it's quite cool for that.
It's not a frog pad, is it?
No, it cost me about £10 off Amazon. Oh. And it literally just looks like just half a keyboard, and all the buttons are just sort of around that area, and you can reach everything with one hand.
I don't think many RS players have one of those.
No, you probably should. They're great.
I also don't think people not from the UK know what a tenner is. Well,
a tenner, yeah.
It's common sense, obviously.
£10. 10 English pounds sterling.
Right. Next question. This one's from Bot Busting, and he asks, could you release a public RuneScape map editor that would allow players to create their own areas of RuneScape and share them?
Oh god, we've talked about doing that quite a few times.
Let's do that.
I think Ash has come closest to doing something similar to that.
I did write a sort of map editor for the battlefield in Citadels. Of course, you can't get it because it's stuck in Citadels, but I was really proud of that piece of content for the few people who ever saw it.
I would definitely like to get some of our tools made public to players, but the problem is our map editor, at least right now, references libraries that are internal to us. And it includes every location, i.e. trees, doors, ladders, rocks, which have custom code behind them. So obviously, as we might, or you might have experienced in the past with some maps, if we map down a certain rock or a certain stepping stone, the code behind it will make you go somewhere else. That was actually something Alfie did when he was mapping down his very first Clan Wars map. So obviously a lot of the items we have in our map editor tool actually have code behind them, and it's just down to Ash and I as the main sort of environment artists really, and whoever else wants to start mapping, to know that mapping certain things is not the safe, well, to know what's safe to map really. So if we were to release a version of the map editor to you, we'd have to put a pre-selective set of custom locks in the map editor for you to use and build things for, and then we'd have to code behind the scenes to make those things do what you want. That's doable, although that's
sounds like a lot of work.
It is an awful lot of work. At the same time, it's probably not a good idea to give other private servers access to a free mapping tool, as it were, because obviously that can then be manipulated to help them develop their worlds as easily. But I would certainly love to get some of our tools out to the community to let them build whatever the hell they want.
Okay.
For what it's worth, our tools usually assume that they're on our network with everything in certain places. And as we discovered with some recent network changes we're having at our end, the model editor's just stopped working on the new network for quite a while. We've got a workaround for it now, but it seems there's a lot of stuff would need reworking if we were going to have it operate on your computer somewhere else.
I think the best option is when you did the in-game one for Clan Citadels, and then we were talking about saving the save game part of it onto the actual person's computer rather than actually saving it on our end, because then that solves us all sorts of problems.
Yes, it's something that I talked to Mod Philip about back in 2011 when I was doing the Battlefield editor in the first place. And he said it would be quite easy to just make it save as a file on the player's hard drive, and then or load from a file on the player's hard drive. Then you could share them with each other, post them on the internet. If it was like a TGA file or PNG or something that can be read that way, it would even look good on a website, perhaps.
Saying that, at least, I have done in the past, in multiple occasions, built what I would like to imagine in-game in Minecraft, because it's a good sort of building environment. If people wanted to, and I have built other maps with other players before, build maps that they would like to see in-game, build it in Minecraft and then send us a video, I guess, because that's a very good way of demonstrating what you would like to see in scale.
Okay.
Should we answer the free-to-play stuff, or the free-to-play full-screen stuff, as they're all shouting about it? I think we probably ought to.
Yep, so this question comes from chat. Full screen.
Yes, current plan is let's get Grand Exchange, Achievement Diaries, free-to-play assuming it passes the poll, membership bonds assuming it passes the poll, and then I think after that we're on to full screen. So I don't think there's anything else I've missed, is there?
Do we have an estimated month for that, maybe?
For the moment, we don't know exactly what scale of work is involved. We know Jack Bob's done the hard end in the engine, but there's a lot of more laborious donkey work going through existing interfaces in the content side, and making sure that they either work acceptably in it or can be adjusted to do so, which is not going to be quick because we have a lot of interfaces in RuneScape.
So
far too many.
For summer, I would hope to have, at the very latest, early summer, I would hope to have it out to you, but
okay.
We will let you know as we work through it and keep you updated as we do with everything we do.
Yep, Ash has actually been posting a lot of Grand Exchange teasers on his Twitter. And I imagine we'll have something very similar when we start working on full screen more and getting that progressed.
I certainly expect so.
Yeah.
And also we've got to write that little script to make the icons in the bottom right corner stack up if you've got a smaller window and flatten themselves if you haven't.
There's going to be a lot of two-way communication with it anyway, because we need to order the components in varying different orders, and some people might want them to be movable, or they want the components in a different order, or they'd like transparency or click-through transparency on some options. So there's going to be a lot of two-way communication with it.
Well, we'll need some options on the chat box as well, because opaque, transparent, click-through or not click-through, that's the kind of thing we could just give a toggle for.
Yeah, loads of toggles. More toggles for toggles.
Even more.
All right,
We
so
like
I
toggles.
believe we're going to go ahead and end it here with the questions, but we do have Gareth or Mod Ghost showing off some sneak peek at the Achievement Diary rewards to finalize the stream.
Okay, cool. How much time have we got left, Chris?
Go ahead, take your
5
time.
minutes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. For anyone that missed the start of the stream, you've actually got a time-lapse video here now created. It's only about 44 seconds long, but this is what Chris is going to be posting on YouTube. So I can actually just show you everything speeded up that we did with the Dragon Defender. It's using a static camera this time, so there won't be any moving around to disorientate you. So you can see it was built with lines, line tool to start off with, then sort of topology was added in to make it 3-dimensional. Then we just readjust to sort of cull that poly count to make it optimized in game. Selecting areas just here to actually add in the multi-sub-object materials, just to create the sections at first, not specific colors. Then we actually created the specific colors here, extruding an extra level of geometry to actually create the glow on top, and then dividing a board around that to actually create 2 sections of glow effect, as you can see there, just being adjusted. And there we have that. Okay, and then moving on, we've actually got the kits that have just been made now for achievement diaries. I'm not going to be doing Elite just yet. The nature of these projects is very fast, obviously, so we have to sort of think what's actually going to be acquired first by the player. I'm sure Elites will be done on time, but it's best for me to actually focus from easy to hard first and get all those items completed. So you can see the Varrock bodies are essentially the same as you saw last week. They've just had some highlights added on there. I've pretty much kept the topology on the capes the same, so that's the general shape of the model. That's what we refer to when we say topology. So this one's the original colour, but I kind of felt that these 2 capes for medium and hard were just too similar. I want you guys to feel like you've got something fresh and new when you actually acquire these items. So they've actually got colours which fit in with the other colour schemes running throughout the outfits, just to give these outfits a sense of unity, as opposed to just bespoke items randomly thrown together. With the kits as well, you can see you've got green, red and blue. Elite will be purple, and you'll have like a purple bat symbol, which is actually the crest of Mauritania, not the Batman logo, like some people have said, because these trousers are required in Mauritania. The capes as well, what we have in Old School is what we call render ordering, where essentially things have to be given a specific order. So you can see this is 3, this is 4, and we've got things right down the bottom which are 1. This actually establishes how they appear and overlap with each other in game. So to actually get rid of this issue that we have with capes, where you'd have like a section over here which was visible through beards and things like that, I've actually created 2 clasps which actually make the cape fasten on the shoulder. These will always render over your shoulders, so you shouldn't get any graphical issues with these, and it just looks a lot tidier, and you haven't got this like giant sort of weight of fabric on your back being held by a tiny piece of sort of string around your neck, which I've never really been a fan of. So yeah, hopefully you like these kits. I've tried to balance the colours out, so you've got yellows and purples and reds and greens and sort of blues and sort of more sort of turquoisey colours as well. So the next iteration will be the Elite, which will be sort of dark, sort of Darth Vader metal colours and sort of purple, which should look really awesome once that's finished. I hope you guys like it.
Good job.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to the Elite Elite rewards.
Absolutely.
They look awesome. Cool. So that concludes the Q&A.
Finally plugging them in.
Yeah. So a bit of Dragon Defender sneak peeks, achievement diaries, talk a little bit about full screen, quite a bit actually. So got even more to talk about next week, especially as the poll will be over. Yeah. So yeah, any final words?
If you want to become a PMod.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Actually, Ronan did say earlier today that he's going to be doing a huge giveaway soon, and to one lucky person, if you tweet him at JageXRonan,
I did not say
he
this.
will select one of the people that tweets him.
Solid band.
No, I'm being serious.
Using obviously hashtag OSRS, of course.
Yes. So tweet Ronan why you deserve to be the winner of this massive giveaway.
All right, guys, so go ahead
quantities.
and give the stream a follow if you enjoyed. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Take care. Bye-bye.